Hey guys, Jared here, and today I want to do a little vlog. We're supposed to have our podcast up today, but that's not going to happen because we didn't really have anything interesting to talk about today. For those that don't know, Canadian gamers and Nintendo fanboys, it's a podcast that we try to get up pretty much every week or every other week, and I host it with Steven, the other buddy of mine. We've been tackling COE videos now for years. Both founding members of the site from way back in the day. My God, I think we're like 12 years now or something like that we've been at this. And there's something that he's been on about for years and years and years and years and years. And I never in a million years thought I would be doing a vlog like this. Like never, never, never. Now, before I go into too much details, basically, for Nintendo, there have been two franchises that I really haven't experienced much, really didn't play too much. And they continue all the way through to today. And one of those was Kirby. And I have experienced some Kirby games about maybe like 5-6 years ago, something like that. Well, actually, maybe not that much. It was about the time... it was about the time with the Wii. So yeah, when the Virtual Console hit, I started to go back and experience some of those earlier Kirby games. And they were a lot of fun, actually. But I never kept up with it. To this very day, I still don't... Like, a new Kirby comes out and I'm not like, woo, yeah! And I don't know why. It's just, it's a fun series. I like the concept, but I just, for whatever reason, never really got into it to the point where I was like, yeah, you know, the next Kirby's coming out, yeah. Whereas with Mario, with Zelda, and Fire Emblem, and a whole bunch of other stuff, like Mario Kart and stuff like that, I experience those as they come out, because they're fun games. But there's one series in particular that Steven's been on and 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 on about, and it is Pokemon. Dun dun dun. Now you gotta give the guy credit because he's been pumping these things out like crazy over the years. So basically, and what do I mean that pumping them out? Well, he's been pimping them. That's what I meant to say. And you got to give the guy credit. I mean, we're buddies. We're friends. We started off as, you know, people that we knew on the internet, but now we're friends. We send each other gifts. Whenever he's in town, he comes visits. We go do stuff, whatever. We've had quite a few adventures over the years. And so he's a funny guy. So he's been saying for years and years and years, you know, you gotta play, like, you at least try it and all of this. And I don't know. The first two games in the series that were released here anyway, I'm not like an encyclopedia when it comes to Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination. So the first two games came out here, I believe it was 1998. 1998 was a pivotal year for me, because it was where really after Ocarina of Time, I almost dropped Nintendo as a whole. It was really like, it was around there. I mean, I was always a fan, I'll always be a fan, but by around 1998, there were just so many good games coming out on the PlayStation 1 that I had shifted almost my entire focus over to the PlayStation 1 by that point in time. The Saturn, it was on its last legs. There were just a few titles coming out like Panzer Dragoon Saga, Shining Force 3, and a couple others. And so I purchased those and I was into those. But with Nintendo and their N64, it was Ocarina of Time. And when I played that, I loved it. I mean, it just connected with me on such a great level. And so, yeah, I was just like hardcore into it. Now, one thing that I wasn't so much into by 1998 was Game Boy. Game Boy, I always purchased Nintendo's newest hardware. So like I had a Game Boy forever, like for years and years and years. Link's Awakening was my favorite game on that system. And it was amazing how complex it was and how just breathtaking it was. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to go and play this kiddie game on the Game Boy in 1998. Forget that. And the Game Boy Color was right around that time too. And I was just like, what the hell's the point, you know? Like, what's the point? And I know the original ones came out in 96. I think it was in Japan. But I'm pretty sure it was 98 here that those games were released. I might be wrong, guys. Like I say, I'm not an encyclopedia. But I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. Basically, by 1994, I want to say, something like that. When the hell did Link's Awakening come out? Well, whenever Link's Awakening came out, that was about the end of the Game Boy, the original Game Boy for me. That was around where things started to, I was like, okay, you know, like I'm good. I'm satisfied with this. It wasn't until the Game Boy Advance came out that I got reinvigorated into Nintendo's portables. The Game Boy Color, I barely played anything at all. I think the only game that I really purchased for it was, could it have been like Link's Awakening, like a DX version of that or something like that, like a color version of Link's Awakening. Anyways, whatever the case may be, that's pretty much what I did. And then there were the Oracle of Ages games, that's right. And I purchased all those and really enjoyed them, and anyway, so on and so forth. But the thing was, I never gave Pokemon Red or Blue a chance, let alone Yellow and all the others. I just never appealed to me because I was like, well, my God, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid. I'm playing Ocarina of Time. I'm not going to go back on my fat, huge Game Boy monochrome. Yeah. It was like, no, it's ridiculous. It's a kid's game. It's a kid's game. It's a kid's game. And so, Steven never ever stopped trying to get me to play the game. And a while back, actually, he started to send games that he was like, you know, you could try this, you'd enjoy it, and like get a review up if you want to do a review. And I can't even think off the top of my head when we started doing this. It was such a long time ago. But like he sent me Alien Isolation, I think, because he was like, oh, you're never going to buy that. Here, go ahead and play that. So not only did I play it, I loved it, and I actually reviewed it for the channel. I think, yeah, I did. I reviewed it for the channel. It's up there. And so I told him, I said, look, anytime you want, if you have something, don't go and buy me like a bajillion games or anything like that. But if you have something that you want me to play, you want me to review, go ahead and do it. And so anyway, so he sent over this long time ago. Like, I believe this was, whoops, excuse me. I believe this was the current gen when he sent this to me. And chances are he wanted to play with me, like, so that we could trade and we could, you know, we could have fun, basically. And because it's me, I was like, Pokemon. Ugh. So it just never happened. It never happened. I've got the game, and it just never happened. And then, you know, you got to give the guy credit. Persistence, man. He's very persistent. He just keeps going. So then shortly thereafter, he sent over this, which was Pokemon White version 2, which is, I thought that was always funny. He sent me Black, the original Black, and then White version 2. I never understood why he never sent me Black version 2. But whatever the case may be, wow, I'm looking at them now. Pretty cool. Anyways, we'll get into the story of all of this. One of these, it may have been, it's one of these that I played for a short period of time, like maybe like 3 hours or something like that. And it just, nothing, like they were cool, but nothing came of it. Again, persistent son of a bee. He then sent over this, which was Pokemon Y. And yesterday, I actually booted this up and I saw I had a save game of 6 minutes. Wow. 6 minutes. And so that's the history of Pokemon and me, and Steven's sort of like non-stop determination to get me to play the damn thing. And anyway, so Fire Emblem Fates comes out. I'm playing through that. As you guys have seen, got the review up. I think it was posted on Friday. And I've been having a really good time with that. But the thing is, with not Fire Emblem Fates, but just in general with life, having a very hard time now just playing games, period. Because time is always, like, it's always against me. So, I noticed when I went to download, no, I wasn't downloading. I was looking at the eShop. I wanted to see, with Fire Emblem, the DLC, I forgot that you go in-game to purchase it. So I was looking to see, what DLC is available for Fire Emblem Fates. And so anyways, I click in and I'm looking, and what do I see? I see Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. And Steven was texting me saying like, like, oh, I don't even know if I'm going to be playing much Fire Emblem now because like I'm obsessed with Pokemon. I had a Pokemon Saturday, and then he went crazy with Pokemon. And so anyways, so I had just finished Pokemon. I had just finished Fire Emblem Fates, and I was like, you know what? Let me have a look at the trailer that's on the eShop for it. And so I was looking at Pokemon Yellow, and Steven had said, well, you don't play these games, man. They're not going to hold up. They're really buggy. There's a lot of problems. There's this, that, and the other thing. And it's like going back and playing an archaic RPG today. It's really hard to do. If you want to experience that and you have access to, Dragon Warrior, go ahead and play like Dragon Warrior 2. If you want an example of a really early RPG that hasn't aged well. Nobody can say that's aged well. It hasn't. If you have more than one enemy in your party, if your party is facing more than one enemy and you attack, say like this monster here, and he dies, and your next individual party member was set to attack that same one, instead of auto adjusting and saying, oh well, no, obviously there's no enemy, I'm going to attack that one. They don't do that. So they just attack air, basically. Things like that. It's really primitive. It's really, really old. So it was stuff like that he had warned me about for Pokemon, for the first generation, saying that, it's really primitive. Like there's a lot of stuff in it that you probably won't like. Like for example, when your Pokemon level up, they'll gain new abilities, and you can only hold 4 abilities at a time. So if you want to replace one of the pre-existing abilities, you just guess in the original game. There's no notification at all to tell you what the move does. So for example, you may have a really strong move and replace it with a pure crap move, and the only way you know that is by actually making that exchange. Now, to be fair, we do have the internet and everything like that today, but still, in terms of game design, it's exceedingly primitive. And it is. It really is. At least in that regard. And dialogue is ridiculous, and I could go on and on. But the thing is, I don't know what it was. Something appealed to me in what I saw, the little trailer type of thing. I don't know if it was on the eShop or for the eShop on YouTube. You know the way they have their little like 30-second trailers for games that they put on the eShop? It may have been that. Anyway, so I was looking at it, and I don't know, maybe it was the retro gamer in me. And let's be honest, I mean, more often than not, that's what I'm playing. I'm playing retro games. Very rare that I play many new games, as you can see in my pickup videos there. There's only a few things that I actually pick up. But anyway, so I decided, you know what the hell. 15 bucks is essentially with tax and everything what it came to, and I downloaded Pokemon Yellow. So, I'm going through it, and it starts, and you get to pick the awesome Pokemon Pikachu, and that's pretty much it. And so I'm going through the game, like in the beginning, and it starts, it's slowish at the beginning in the sense that there's not much of a tutorial or anything like that. You get your Pikachu, and then you're out. You fight your rival, who I named Steven, of course, and the mechanics seem very, very simple. You have a few moves, and you use those moves against the other Pokemon. And then, as I start going, you start to learn naturally. Nobody's really telling you anything, but you just start to learn that, okay, well, there's types. So you got fire, water, you've got flying, ground, you've got just like a wealth of different types. And so that reminded me a lot of Fire Emblem in and of itself, because with Fire Emblem, it's basically like a rock, paper, scissors type of system that they have, where one weapon type will beat out another weapon type. And Pokemon is exactly the same thing. The key difference here is that with Fire Emblem, we're talking about 3. It's on a 3 triangle system, basically. So this one will beat that one beat that one, that one beat that one. Done. And with Pokemon, it's like a freaking grid. So you could say like, okay, water would be strong against fire. Oh, okay, all right, that's simple. But what if the fire Pokemon is also flying? Oh, well, that changes things, because certain moves are very effective against flying creatures, but may not be effective against fire creatures. So you're like, okay, well, wait a sec. So it's good against flying, but not good against fire. Oh, but that one's good against water, but it's not good against ground. And that one's, it's crazy. So what the term I've coined is Pokemon is deceptively simple. Had I played this back in '98 or whenever it was that the originals came out, I most likely would have adored this. Yeah, I was a little bit older. Like I wouldn't have been at the age where I was in elementary and would have had friends to connect it and all this sort of stuff. But I would have had friends who were playing it at that particular point in time. Had I been as influential as I always have been with gaming to tell people, no, play this. Trust me, play it. And that's exactly the thing. Like, I was wrong. I was completely freaking wrong in how the original games were set up. I just thought this was a cutesy little kids game, and there you go. Now, playing through it and actually getting my ass handed to me sometimes, because you got to really think of all the different. This is strong against that, but maybe not totally strong because it's got more than one ability. Oh, but wait a second. Which one was it? Oh yeah, that one's good with this and that. I don't even know how children were able to play this damn thing. It's crazy. And the whole collect 'em all thing, yeah, I can see that might not be for everybody. Absolutely, I can totally understand that. But it does get a little bit addicting when you're trying to go through the game and you have your core team set up with, you may have a fire Pokemon, a water, maybe a ground or an earth one, a fighter. You might have a psychic type ability, whatever. But as you start going through and you start finding more Pokemon, they start leveling up. It's fun. It's genuinely fun to see what new abilities you will unlock. I kind of wish that they had something like that with I don't want to say a more mature storyline, because that's kind of not people now today when you say a more mature storyline, they automatically think like Gears of War. What I'm talking about is like A Link to the Past to me. A Link to the Past is a more mature storyline, and all I'm saying is that it would be fun that if it wasn't just targeted to say young children or something like that, which still blows my mind, man. Young children learning all of this stuff, and from what Steven tells me, newer releases like this one, there's breeding involved and all kinds of crazy crap. So it's way deeper than I thought. And I gotta be honest, there's one section, I think it's Lavender Town. I went through this one area where there's a tower that's set up for Pokemons that have died. And that was deep, man. This is a Nintendo game, and an early Nintendo, well, early-ish Nintendo game. And it's weird seeing kids, because they're all young kids, crying in the game and stuff like that, saying how, oh, it's so sad that this Pokemon had died, because normally Pokemon, after they've battled, they just one faints. And so I was totally not expecting that. Currently I'm about 20 hours through the game. Well, maybe that's pushing it. I don't think I'm quite that high. I think I'm more like 16-ish, but whatever. I'm getting near the 20-hour mark, and it reminds me so much of those very early role-playing games like Dragon Quest, where you have to level each individual Pokemon up. I've got a core team of 6, but the level discrepancies between them are staggering. So for example, I'll have one of mine, I have a Golem that's level, he's nearly level 50. And I have an Alakazam. The names, I'm still not used to the names. And he too is around 50. Then my Pikachu, which is interesting because in this particular version you can't evolve. Steven's been helping me out a lot as I've been going through, because I don't know when certain Pokemon will evolve and things like that, or how you evolve them. To give you an idea of just how crazy this ended up getting for me and how much fun I've been having, when I found out that the Geodude guy, I forget what he evolves to. He evolves to something first before he becomes Golem. And I found out that, like Steven was saying, was yeah, but you're not going to be able to use his full potential because you won't have him. He only evolves to that form by trading. So I actually purchased another version. I think was it blue? think I purchased Pokemon Blue on my other Game Boy Advance just so that I could trade back and forth. That's crazy. I never thought in a million years that not only would I buy a Pokemon game, but that I would actually get so into the game that I would go and purchase another version of the game just so that I could link it together, because I have no one who's interested in playing this game. I've spoken to a couple of friends and been like, hey, you know, like maybe give this a chance. Like, don't be like me. And I feel like a total like asshat because I've had these games for ages and I never gave them a real shot. Never really sat down and said, you know, I'm going to finish it. And that's exactly what I did with Pokemon Yellow. I was like, no, I want to go through this, I want to experience this. Can I collect the entire Pokedex? I doubt it very much. I don't have the means to do that. I would literally have to play through all 3 games, red, blue, and yellow, in order to get all 150. And 151, the only way I could get Mew is if I do the glitch or that Steven was telling me about, or Nintendo offers a way of getting the little guy. So I don't know, I have no idea what the future is going to hold for me for this, but I will say that right now I'm having a really good time. I really am. It's a really good challenge too. It takes a long time to level these Pokemon up, and like I've been having a really good. It's been a good challenge, even though I'm quite high in terms of levels when I go to one of the gyms. And the gyms, that's how you progress. You have to go through a series of gyms to become the best. And yeah, right now that hasn't been too bad, but that's mainly because I'm so over leveled compared to everyone else. But that's okay. I mean, it's an RPG. They give you the option to do that. Go ahead. You know, you can make it as easy or as challenging as you want. But it was interesting because the other night I put on Pokemon Y, and I was just trying to see like what you know, you get gifts and stuff like that, and Steven was saying, oh yeah, you go ahead and go to, there's like a gift section or update section or something, and he's like, you can go ahead and you can get one of the Pokemons for free for a certain period of time. They'll issue these legendaries out or these rare ones out. So I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So I went ahead and I did that for this particular game. And then I was like, well, you know, I'll see if I can get to like a Poke Center. That's where you can switch out Pokemon. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. And I was floored when I put this on. I was like, wow, this is actually gorgeous. Like, it's a really nice looking game. To see how far they've come from what I'm playing in Pokemon Yellow and a bit of Pokemon Blue to Pokemon Y, totally crazy. So all this to say that, you know, determination and having a friend who's been like pushing you for years and years and years, it's good sometimes. And it's I've just been introduced to what to me has been a hidden gem. Pretty crazy, eh? So that's pretty much it, guys. I don't know about you, but do you have any experiences like that where there's like a series that's beloved the world over and you just never played it for whatever reason, and then you finally sat down and said, you know what, no, damn it, I'm going to take this serious, I'm going to finish this thing, and that's when I'll make my call, whether or not this is truly for me, whether or not I really like it. And right now I'm shocked. I never ever thought I would say that I'm having a really good time with Pokemon Yellow, and just by putting this on and playing for about maybe 40 minutes or so, something like that, I was having a blast. So I have a feeling that this is going to turn into a series that I'll actually become a fan of. Whether or not I like collect them all, as they say, I don't know about that. But I'll definitely be looking forward to the next installment. So what about you? Let me know if there's any series or any games that you have a similar situation like that. I mean, this is a series that's been 20 years in the making, and I've just never ever checked it out until now. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the vlog, and well, maybe next week we'll be back with a podcast. But for now, catch you all in the next video.